Hello, this is 999 Show again, and today we are going to try something different. One of the things that I've been wanting to do on this channel is have viewer participation, like a call-in talk show, but we're trying it just a little bit different. I've opened this live up with StreamYard, and there is a link in the chat. If you click on that, if you have a if you click on that account, that then you can come in and talk to me, providing you are 18 years of age or older. 18 or older, and please, no trolls. Just be respectful. So we're just gonna start here and try to do some blind drawings. Well, there's nobody here, nobody here, so how do I see the chat here? I gotta learn how to use this device. What are the viewpoints that we have? No, there. Oh well, if somebody comes in, they'll be able to see it, right? So we're looking at this through the thing. Feels like I need to get a different charcoal altogether. That this one charcoal doesn't seem to be working very well. I think I have a pencil shaver. Oh well, yeah, I have a pencil shaver right here. We'll just use this thing here. Do pencil shavings. I was on one of these shows just a little bit earlier today on the More Intuitive Me. She has an open panel every Friday night. And I was on for just a few minutes. Now, it's hard because StreamYard doesn't like to push your videos, so not as well as like, okay. This thing's starting to look really interesting, don't you think? Look at that. Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. Maybe give it like some googly eyes look. This is really bad. This is bad. You're just lurking in and nothing's happening here. Maybe just a little quirk of a thing. It's got the eyes are googly, moogly, googly eyes, and you can come on into the chat and ask me any questions you want. Hi, 99 RT guy. How are you? Talk to me tonight. We can do talk here or not. Talk or not. So yeah, we got this as you can see, I'm looking at this thing blind, and we got the googly eyes going on, blind art. So is there anything that you like to do here? Maybe a kind of I'm doing great, and how are you? Oh, it's a different person, Italian, our WQ forever. We are great. We're having a great time. We're just making it up as we go along. I was reading an article here today about how this this company has figured out how to make gasoline right out of the air. They can pull carbon right out of the atmosphere, and with some processes, some magic processes, and so forth. Then adding some water, out pops gasoline, air powered air gasoline, and so that's like a miracle. It's like they call it like a carbon neutral fuel. Don't have to give up your guzzling muscle cars or your any of that stuff at all. You can just pull up to a station. You have that in your like backyard and pump gasoline right out of the air. Chip from Beauty and the Beast, the adult version. Well, you know what? Have you seen have you seen that the chit show? The chit show? There is the chit show. Have you ever watched the chit show? Yeah. Anyways, we're doing this here. Kind of got a big old mutton chops going on here. So were you watching in from, Mr. Morph? What or RT guy? Where are you from? Where are you from? I'm on the West Coast, and I'm like just a few miles away from the ocean on the West Coast. It's rainy today, wet. Well, I guess it's not raining right at this exact moment, but it's really moist outside and it's really dark. It got dark really, really early. I never saw Beauty and the Beast, Chip, or the adult version of Chip. Okay. All right. I don't know what you're talking. Yeah. That sounds like it was like one of those naughty movies. This is just crazy. It's just kind of crazy to do this kind of drawing here. Draw in reverse. It is quite a nice trick. I think that it's better this way. It's better this way. Maybe I'll get some colored pencils out and just start taking a look. Taking a look-see. If anybody's still there. Anything interesting happening in the world today? Does anybody have anything interesting that they've anything interesting going on other than talking about Chip from Beauty and the Beast? Wow, I like this. I really like this. The energy of it is really frenetic. It's got some frenetic energy in it. I wonder what would happen if we got some colored pencils out. I got a whole big kit of colored pencils. I wonder if I can turn the camera down. I could probably do that, turn the camera down. Well, maybe we'll just use these pencils. Come up here, and I got these colored pencils, and we'll see what kind of crazy stuff we can do here with this. Crazy stuff here. High up there are things waiting to be seen, and we're just going to color it in. So if you got anything interesting to talk about, please feel free to unload your mind, providing you're respectable. This isn't possible all ages audience. Never know who's listening in. We're just going to do a little colored pencil work, adding a little highlights in there just to see how more frenetic we can make it, how more wild the guy is. I like that wild hair there. You can see that. Got that wild hair coming up. So this 999 show, just doing just variety, bunch of variety. Nothing too exciting here. It's probably pretty boring to those of you looking in. You know, there's more exciting things to look at when you're coming in here from wherever. You know, maybe you're watching people play video games or some stuff like that. So we're just kind of taking this colored pencil and I'm kind of making a background in there, a little bit of blue, little blue. Oh, hey, Sarah, would you like to come in? And I got a link in the description. If you hit that link, you can come on and be on the screen here with me. I think it'll work. I think what you do is you want to do that. And hi, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like an open panel. If you want to just pop on and for a few minutes, I think I can let you in. It should work. There's a link here. That would be great if we just come and we can chat it up, chat about anything. Doesn't really matter. Maybe. Well, you know what you got to do. You know, Chef, what you got to do? You got to go into your. You got to go back, come back out of this, and go into your liked videos, and like the video from in the liked video, and then enter back into the stream from the liked video section, and then you can come on in. I think that'll work. That's how I got into hers earlier today. Well, let's give this guy some different colored eyes. So yeah, maybe this talk to me thing is going to work. I don't know. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah. Maybe it's not going to work this time. Maybe I'll have to activate that phone number and we'll do this over the phone. Maybe tomorrow night. Try that tomorrow night. I think I can activate that other phone SIM card tomorrow. So we got some eye colors. It's got like, oh, you got pink eye. Giving him pink eye. That's even crazier, Crazy pink eyes. Yeah, crazy pink eye. Look at that. This is fun. I'm having a good time. I hope you guys are having a good time too. For the two people that are out there watching. Trying new things. It's always good to try new things. Maybe I can try to come in on it. I think I tried this once before. It doesn't work if I try to come in on a different account. We'll just see what happens here. Yeah. All right, let's go change accounts, and we're gonna just try to pop in my own live stream. Can I do that? Maybe we can do that. It might work. Talk to me. Talk to me, because that's what we got going on today. Oh, well, what about this? Hey, it worked. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Maybe you can hear me and I can't hear you. Okay. Let's see, who else is here? Okay, we got that. Yeah, all right. You're in. Maybe you're not fully in yet. You're there. And I suppose if I try, I don't want to unplug my, I guess I'll try unplugging my microphone then. Hear you at all. Okay. So no, I can't hear you, Sarah. Sorry. Oh, well, hello, Sarah's husband. Can see you off there on the side. Well, you made it in, but like I say, I can't hear you. But maybe you're not talking. You're just kind of lurking in. Anyway, but maybe your husband can fix it there. I'll go plug this thing back in again. My own microphone. Anyway, so well, so we got technical difficulties out there, but this is the first time I tried to do this. So I mean, that's great. I got a taker, and that's good. So we'll just get back to coloring here while they're working on their technical difficulties. Was your mic working before you logged in? So you might try maybe it's my ears. I know one of my ears is completely plugged up. Oh, private chat. Okay. Oh, you need to fix your microphone. I got you. I see. Maybe what you could try is yeah, you logged out and coming back in. Okay. All right. Hopefully that will work. Are they still in the private chat? So anyways, we're trying something different here. Let's get another colored pencil. Got this green one here. And we'll just kind of run a little greeny around the eyes. Maybe this guy's a little hungover or something like that. A little green tinge on the face. So those of you watching in, we're doing an experiment real time here. Okay, let's see.
Can you hear me now?
It's working now?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yay.
Awesome. So this works. So you got to come on my show for a little bit, and you got your husband there that did all the fixing work.
Yeah, he had to fix it because I couldn't get it to work for Elizabeth.
Okay.
So
well, you know, there's that good old fashioned restart that you got to do. Have to restart the devices. I have to do that oftentimes because before I could when I was to share my channels on in her. I had to actually restart the phone and to go back in there and do all that stuff
Oh, okay.
because of because a lot of times it's like all the different layers of stuff that goes on. And so, how's things in New Mexico?
It's good. How about
But you got
Washington?
it. I'm in Oregon,
Oh,
but
Oregon.
it's wet. But then Washington, it would be kind of wet too. And so then you started a new job, and so you're not. Is it another government job or?
No, I'm just working at a fun new thrift store that just opened up in town, and so it keeps me
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. So a fun new thrift store. And you like that better than working for the government, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, working retail is fun. Well, I've always had fun doing it compared to like sitting in an office job. I don't.
Yeah, I've never worked for the government before, so I don't know. Maria, how you doing, Maria? Welcome. Yeah, and so yeah, we're trying something different tonight, Maria. This is kind of like an open panel type of a thing, and Sarah has just kind of logged on. We've been trying. She's been trying to, you know, trying to do another show together, but here we are. It's just live impromptu entertainment, and so yeah. So you got a new job working at a thrift store, and then it's way more chill and relaxing than um yeah, I gave my dog a little spam tonight. It helped because Pee-wee didn't like the fried turkey that or poached turkey that I fed her, so I had to fortify it with a little spam. And
Did you hunt your turkeys in your backyard and eat one of your turkeys for Thanksgiving?
no, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I did not, and I can tell you why. One, I don't hunt anymore, and it's the the one time that I took a life when it was a deer when I was like 15. It was really traumatic,
Mm,
and I didn't want to do that again. And
yeah.
granted, of course, there was another time when I was a little older, and I hit one on the road, and we had to dispatch it. And yeah, and so that was hard too. And so those are the hard things. And so I had decided that hunting really wasn't for me. I'm not, if it's one of those things that you're into and you want to do, fine, that's fine. You want to raise animals and your chickens or whatnot, and have chicken soup, from the chickens you raise. That's fine. I commend you for doing that and for your self-sufficiency. But I myself is that's something that maybe I'm just not hungry enough.
Yeah,
you
I
know
understand. You're a very empathetic person, so it's difficult when you're empathetic, like you feel that pain and
Yeah, I can tell you with the turkeys, these turkeys anyway. You can't get a tag to hunt these turkeys unless you are in a tribal. If you're a member of like the local tribe around here, because they're the
oh,
and because there are certain animals that or like I have neighbors that are tribal, and one of them they hunt with dogs. They train dogs for hunting, but they're not hunting herbivores. Uh, they're hunting like cats, big cats,
oh,
because there's a lot of big cats in this area. There's so it's like some of my favorite places to. Okay, would never be a secret agent without a license. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right, Zippity Doodah. I would not be that. I almost went in the military when I was like 18 or 19, I had to go back. Uh, I had some skin problems, and so I wasn't really able to, for some reason or another, I wasn't able to. I didn't go. Maybe my dad. I could have seen a specialist, and maybe they would have cleared me, and I would have gone in. But that would have been, when would that be? That would have been the late '80s. But nevertheless, but the story was is that with these turkeys is that one of my neighbors, and then so when his grandfather passed away, his grandfather loved birds and had introduced into this valley quail and other kind of, and so now there's wild quail that live in this valley, which there wasn't before. And so he would have never allowed one of his grandchildren or his children or his great grandchildren, in that case, to hunt those wild turkeys. But when his grandfather passed away, he, like a year later, he got a tag. He got a tag from the tribe, and he went and shot one of those turkeys. And then, um, and then he did. He took it home, and then, but as he was like plucking the feathers out, he noticed that the thing was just full of body lice. It was just loaded with body lice, and it kind of stunk. And so the kid, he was like, what, he's like 16, 17, 18, whatever age. I think he was probably at that time he was about 16. And he may have been younger, and he couldn't get over the fact that all that lice was on there. But his father, no problem with his father. His father just, okay, we'll just do this and blah blah blah, and then he just threw the thing on the smoker, and then they shared it with their cousins who lived next door, and then I guess it was like tough like nails. It's like real, because it's really gamey. It's really tough. But on the smoker, it was okay. But I think that his father was the only one who liked it. Everyone else thought, oh, I think it's better if we just let the turkeys live their life and we just watch them.
Yeah.
Now, the owner of the valley had to thin the herd down because 2 years ago there were 40 of them, and so they opened up and opened it up for there were a lot of tribal people coming and hunting those turkeys, and so now there's 13. There's 4 males and 11 females. I guess no, it's like, I don't know. There's 4 males, and then the rest of them are females, and then those males are like really aggressive with each other, and they're always fighting each other, and and yeah, that's about those turkeys. But I like watching them.
So, how did your art show go?
You know what? I did like a little over $200 in sales.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't price anything all that high. I priced everything to go. So at this time in my life, I let my zippity do. Oh, so he carved the roasted turnip on Thanksgiving. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went over to my sister's for Thanksgiving, but I would have been perfectly content to stay home. But anyways, and and so, you see, my sister bought some of my art, and then my childhood friend bought some of my art. So I don't know, but then, so that didn't really count when family buys your art. But somebody who was tribal bought one of my pieces, and I was really appreciative of that.
Oh, that's
And because
awesome.
yeah, so I essentially just sold one piece of art to somebody who wasn't family, and then the rest of it, then there's like some oddball cards and so forth. And
Yeah, my husband's having a really hard time. He went to the store where I do tarot readings at to try to sell his original art for his Alien Lenormand, and it's the third time he's gone to try to sell his artwork, and nobody wants to even like come look at his art or talk to him. Like I try to
Hmm.
like get people to come and they just act all like scared. I'm like, it's
Hmm.
just artwork.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is that nobody has any money, and
Yeah.
you don't have, or you don't have a whole lot of money, and so I price my stuff down way low,
Yeah.
and I price, and so this art fair, I wanted to sell as much of it as I could, and so I didn't like think, okay, like in previous ones, I didn't sell anything for $100 or more. I mean, the art fair 2 years ago, I sold a painting for 300,
Wow.
and but I could have. I was someone told me that I really undersold that one. That I should have had the price up way higher because. But it was a friend. It was a friend. He was a he was a journalist who used to work for a newspaper, but doesn't work for a newspaper anymore. You know, and and he's an actor, and I we were on King Lear together many years ago. He had a I had a bit part. I had like three, or was it 5 bit parts? Yeah, 3 with speaking roles, and then he had one of like a principal character. The guy who was like the crazy one in King Lear. I was like, I can't remember because I was like told him to. Oh yeah, there was a guy in town. It was in McMinnville. This guy in town who wandered around and was talking to everything, and he was off his meds, and when he was off his meds, he was living underneath somebody's house and like Sheridan, and then he would come into McMinnville every day, which was like 15 miles, and then but when he was on his meds, he was all right. He could almost function in society, function in a halfway house, but when he was off, he was like, you know how that is, and but that guy there, because so there was one of the characters in Zip appreciates the artists and the craftsmen. Yeah, so like my this is one of my pieces that I didn't take with me. This is some of
Oh,
my own. I have a lot of
that's
pieces that are
cute.
just my own. This is like my own.
Oh, I like that one. I like the
Yeah,
colors.
yeah, and so I haven't been able to reproduce it, but I try. This is my own.
Pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty, pretty.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been really slow for me too. There was like 3 weeks I had no tarot readings, so that hurt. It was like I don't
Mm-hmm.
charge anything for my readings either, really. Like, um, so yeah, it's been a rough period for like
Mm-hmm.
artists, I think like readers, like it's been uh like the
Well,
shop's been really slow too.
yeah. Well, I think that my goal in 2026 is going to be to buy no tarot decks at all. And
Are you kind of moving away from tarot?
no,
No? Just you're
why?
just I wasn't sure because I know like when we kind of like talked like last time, like you mentioned that you were kind of I don't know if it was like frustrated with YouTube or like tarot
Oh,
or
that
like
would be. I got I hit the wall, and coming into September, a lot of it was like the Labor Day weekend. There was like a big family blowout because I'm like terrible at housekeeping, and
yeah, I
my
remember.
aunt my aunt organized a work party, and then one of my nieces um, got really really upset with me, and all that upsetting and then something else happened, and then it was like I emotionally I just couldn't. Everything just came to a slamming halt, and I just started back doing readings on Tools of Fortune like 2 weeks ago, and no, we're in total different states, and we're just having a talk kind of just talk stuff. It was like, like no, we're just hanging out and BSing talk right now. That's what this is. So if
Exactly.
it's like it's not interesting to you, that's fine. You don't have to be interested in it. Right now I'm talking to my friend Sarah. She is in New Mexico and near in UFO territory
Yep.
in Roswell,
Hanging
New
out with
Mexico, with the
hanging out with
aliens, and I am in the Oregon Coast Mountains, about like a 40-minute drive away from the ocean. So zippity doo dah, yeah. So no, we're just kind of hanging out here. I've been meaning to get her on my show for a while, and I just wanted to try something new here. And one of the places that I'm going to try to move to on this channel is to do. If this works, I'm gonna do this. But if it, I might move to do in and adding callers to be
Oh, you
calling
can do
in.
it on this program. You can do call-ins, or how does
No,
that
it
work?
means that I activate the SIM card on this phone,
Oh,
and then I get a Google Voice account, and then people can call that number in, and that way, they're both cheating on me. Oh, that's what Maria's there. She says, "Oh yeah, yeah, she's we're cheating on her." Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so have call in, try to do that, and because it was after I was getting done with Jeff's show with Jeff yesterday, and I got done. I think, oh, what would be kind of a fun show would be to have someone come on for a serious top conversation, and then to see how long it would take Bill to derail that conversation by asking some stupid ass question, and then how long would that conversation that would go from being about whatever to like donuts or something
yeah,
like that. How long would that take?
yeah.
So you just like my, oh, that's right, you guys should like my live stream. And because so we're just kind of just chatting it up a bit here, and then and so Maria, you've never actually talked to me before, and because I think I can add up to like 6 people on this thing.
I mean, Zippity Doodah wants to come on, and Maria.
Does he? He doesn't want to be on. So
No.
Zippity Doo Dah. There, I don't know how old are you, Zippity Doo Dah. I think that if you're like under 18, I don't know if I'm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, huh. Maria's talking about her cat. Oh, it's 9:09 when she just put that in there. Look at that. But anyway, so it was like yesterday's talk was. I'm getting better with that show with Jeff as far as like staying on topic, and you look like you're about ready to go to sleep.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I know that
Yeah.
you're like an hour or 2 hours difference.
I think
Yeah.
I'm just an hour ahead of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm fine. I just I was watching I was hanging out with I think I caught the tail end of your you being on with Elizabeth
Oh
when
yeah.
I logged in, and then like I said
Um.
I was trying to go on live with her, and it wouldn't let me in. Well, I couldn't
Oh,
figure out my microphone.
I see. Yeah. So Zippy Doo Dah. I have a link in the top, pinned in the chat here, and you probably would need a StreamYard account. You can get a free StreamYard account, and then you can pop in, and if you want to shoot the breeze, we can talk about whatever, as long as it's like, you know for all audiences. My basic rules are you be respectful, and language, and work on no language,
Keep it
and
PG,
yeah,
PG
keep
13.
PG, yeah, yeah, for just for YouTube rules, and
Exactly.
yeah, but yeah, anyway, so I was pretty good with the art. That one painting I painted, I don't know, several years ago, and it was a really neat painting. Is is it When I got done with it, it would be what I felt like is you were looking out through this cave onto the world, onto this ocean and the scene, so this was like Mother Earth looking out from below, looking out over the sea through a cave, and then there's like roots that were snaking down into it. It was really cool painting,
That sounds
and
awesome.
yeah. It wasn't like anything really super technical. What kind of art does your husband do? That's
He does oil paintings and he created his own Alien Lenormand deck. So he has all the original oil paintings that he did and then he scanned them in and made them into a deck. Um,
oh yeah.
yeah, so he sells the Lenormand deck and like stickers and magnets at the shop, and those do pretty well, but he's trying to sell his originals and he's not selling them for much. It's I think like 9 by 10s, and he dropped the price down to $50 for original art, like oil
Mm-hmm.
painting.
Yeah.
That's like, bare minimum. Like he can't drop it down less than that. And
Yeah.
nobody wants to even talk to him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really understand, but then when you go to the store and you see what a dozen of eggs for, I don't know. I go to the tribal food bank, and I got, of course, I got a whole bunch of junk food, a lifetime supply of little packets of Henry Newman's or Paul Newman's honey mustard dressing. I don't really use dressing, but I got it, and you're going to an art gallery, Esco, yeah. Well, I'm going to have a couple of my pieces go on to into an art show in January. I Supposedly, anyway, they invited me to do that, but I don't. I'm not even going to bother putting pricing them out or anything. I'm just gonna be there to go on display and everything else, because to me it doesn't sound like that's what they were into. But um, yeah, yeah, going to an art gallery or expo can be a great date, because there was like a Frasier episode about that. Zippy Dee Doo Dah. It was with was it Frasier? Maybe it was someone. Maybe it was something else. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know now. Oh no, it wasn't Frasier. It was Coach. It was Coach, because his girlfriend wanted to go to an art gallery, and Hayden Fox, the football coach, didn't want to go. Didn't want to be caught dead in an art gallery, and and then but his assistant went, and then he bought his wife, his friend's wife, a piece of art, a print, and then Hayden didn't want to be showed up, and so he said, well, I'll just buy that one over there. And then he choked when the price was like $1,000, and it's like, oh my god, what did I
Oh,
just do?
wow.
Yeah.
Well, he's lucky it was only $1,000 and not like 10,000.
Yeah, I know, but but the show Coach aired in what, like the late '90s, wasn't it? Remember
Oh,
that show?
wasn't it late 80s, early 90s? I don't
It
know.
might it might have been. It was. I know that because in the '80s, okay, it was in the late '80s is when when my folks got a TV, because they had a TV, an old TV, and then I was watching it too much, and my dad, he was God, he had a hell of a temper. and he thought, oh, we were moving down in the country, and what is my son doing, watching TV all day when he get out of school? And then he just took the TV and chucked it out the back door, and and then smashed all over the place. And then it was just like, okay, that's great dramatic fashion. And so then I got used to not having no TV from like fifth grade. And then they eventually did get a TV. I think it was like when my grandma was getting ill, and then she had to move in for a while, and then get her diabetes, blood sugars under control, and then she moved back into her house, and then she stayed there until like 1991 when she got the cancer, and then she moved back in, and like that. And so yeah, that was around the time frame that we got another TV. but yeah, that was kind of,
Coach was on from 1989 to 1997. So
yeah, that's right. That was fun.
So you're gonna start doing this in 2026. You're not gonna buy any new tarot decks.
No, I'm just going to use all the ones that I have. I want to finish my cleaning project so that, like, right over here. So instead of doing my show against this sheet, it'll be against the bookshelf. But it involves me actually turning the vacuum cleaner on and then getting rid of some boxes and then moving some things around, and then that's kind of what it involves. But I have this zero inertia to do this, and it's like I wake up in the morning, oh, I think I'm going to do that now, and then next thing you know, another week goes by and it hasn't happened.
You know what? Somebody, one of friends of mine taught me. She's like, have a glass of sparkling wine as you clean, and it will help motivate you.
I think so, but I get like terrible migraines with wine, and then it's also I'm on the metformin, and metformin, you could have like one drink with the metformin, but then some people can have more, and some people one drink is too much for the metformin, and like what, go destroy your liver, or I don't know what it does. I can't remember, but I know that when I was like talking with the doctor about it, because I know that those doctors, they didn't like look up side effects. I looked up the drug and had a lot of discussions with other people before I even decided to take the drug. But I knew that you couldn't have it with alcohol, but I kind of like asked the question, and it says, oh yeah, you can have like blah blah. Then she looked it up, and then it was like, oh no, you can't have any alcohol with it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bad. You gotta find something else. You gotta find another way to like motivate yourself.
Yeah. Well, if I was a different kind of guy, then I would probably, and I had some money, I'd just go over to the Philippines and get a wife that would do that. You're rolling your eyes.
Don't be that person, Bill.
I'm not. I'm not. But I was just like saying that because I was like, but one of my cousins.
If you were rich, you could just hire somebody to clean. You don't need to go.
Yeah, I know. You're right. If I had some more money, you're right. But anyway, I have a cousin. He's a first cousin once removed. He is the last cousin that is that close, that is still from the old country, from Sweden. And when he was like 50, I think he's 67 now. He went over and he married someone from Thailand she was like 20 years younger than him. So she was like 30. No, actually she was closer to 40. And he had a few children, and his dad had passed, and then after the probate and all whatever the stuff went through, he inherited $100,000, and then he ended up marrying this girl. Well, she was like almost 40, and with a couple children, and then spending some of that money on helping her to get a business going, but it didn't work. And then he brought her home to Sweden with him and with her children. And then this was like last year, she left him, but she left him right after she got the citizenship.
Yeah.
With Swedish, yeah. And so that's what happens so often with that whole thing, that it sounds like a great idea to go. And I think the only way that scenario kind of works is if you go over and you live in their country as an expat.
Right.
When you bring them over here, and I work with people who brought and their marriages are extremely unhappy because, one, they didn't realize how poor the guy was, and then and you're moving me from my home, yes, and I'm thinking I'm going to get this better life, and you're moving me into a camper trailer in a RV park where you're poverty, and then while you spend the majority of your paycheck in a slot machine, and I knew people like that I worked with at the casino, and they had, and that it wasn't really and those relationships, they rarely ever work. They work when they're,
because it's transactional and it's
yeah.
based on, I mean, marriage is already problematic because it's ownership. So
Mm-hmm.
males are like, okay, I'm going to marry this woman and I'm going to own her.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some males that are like, okay, I'm going to get married and it's a partnership. But for the most part, the problem with society is that, transactional interactions aren't going to work. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
moving somebody from their home to another location where maybe they don't speak the language and they don't have their community, they're just going to be depressed, and then they're going to make your life miserable. So it's just a bad
Yeah.
situation, and it's power dynamics, and it's, I don't care if the person like agrees from that other country. It's kind of like it's too close to human trafficking. It's just
Mm.
too, it feels very like slimy to me. Like,
Yeah. And then,
they're buying a companion, which I know people do that here, but at least the person, if they're buying a companion here, they speak the language and it's just for a certain amount of time. They're not saying like, let me buy you to be my wife. Like,
well, one of my childhood friend, when he got married the second time, he paid a dating service like almost $10,000, and he married a doctor, and she was an immigrant, but she was like, well, she was close to 40, and he was close to 40. They have a child together. They've been married for 20 years. But it was the dating. It was mainly the service that he paid. Now, she was already been in the United States. He had to sign a big prenuptial agreement in order to, when they got married, because of the finances and everything. And then he gave up when the child was born. He gave up his career as a software engineer to be a stay-at-home dad. And so
that's a little different. They're two professionals, like having a
they are.
professional life. They both had their own money and resources when prenups are involved. So
Yes.
the power dynamic
Hmm.
was more even. It wasn't like somebody from another
No,
country.
no, no. She was an immigrant, and she an Iranian immigrant, and now her brother can freely go between the United States and Iran. But when her folks were passing away, were dying, she couldn't go back and see her folks because she could not step foot in Iran again, because she would never be able to leave to come home. And then because she was a not anyways, there were ethnic reasons and things like
Mhm.
that, and there are all kinds of different things. And she left Iran, I think, when she was like a young teenager. Probably, I don't know. I think she went to school in Switzerland, like grade school, high school, and then she came over to the United States and went to med school. And then, so yeah, no, when he paid that money, it was to a dating service for your security clearances and the extensive background checks. And it was not necessarily that he bought a wife. He bought a service in order to meet somebody. And so that was kind of the deal. And then um but yeah, so it was a total different thing, because it's like people have various various degrees of socialization. Let me see, is that the kind of word we're thinking about? You being able to just meet somebody, you know, and just meeting somebody, and then going through but they still had to go through all of those things of dating and figuring things out. That service didn't short circuit those things. He wasn't, but that's the thing, is for a lot of people, who men and women who have those troubles, and sometimes that is an option to do, is to go, if they have, instead of like going through whatever online dating sites there are, and just is skip all of that stuff and go. And then here's this, like, some of these other matchmaking service. That's what it was, a matchmaking service.
Mhm.
you know I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe these aren't such great ideas, but it worked for them. Worked for
That's
them.
great. I'm glad, it's, different layers, and it's, if it's a matchmaking service, then yeah, like I said, you're paying for like the service. Um
Hmm.
and making sure, like, if you pay that, like, okay, both parties are serious, they actually want to date, maybe, like, get you married, where, all these free apps and stuff, it's just like hookup culture, because you're not paying anything,
Yeah.
people aren't paying anything, so yeah, that's like a
Hmm.
waste of time. So I see, like, okay, matchmaking services, you're paying, it shows that both parties are serious about commitment.
Yeah, I think that with that service, the man had to pay more than the woman did.
Yeah, that's usually the way it is. I think,
Yeah.
even like, do you ever watch that TV show, like, Millionaire Matchmaker? Like, the men end up
I
paying.
haven't. Uh the only one of those reality shows that I remotely like is that one, Alone, on the History Channel. Have you ever seen that one? I've only seen, like, I think 7 or 8 seasons of it. I didn't
7
see
or
all
8
of them.
seasons? Oh my gosh.
I haven't
I'm
watched.
I'm
Yeah.
like a casual reality, like, in passing, okay, like, if it's
Hmm.
on, like, or somebody else is watching it, like, I've just seen Millionaire Matchmaker like once or twice. Like, I don't watch reality TV shows, but I've just seen, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So Zippy Doo Dah, here's that Cher and her boy toy are okay. They're happy. That's good that they're happy. I think I'm trying to remember who Cher was. Oh, that was the big hair. Okay, yeah, the singer. Yeah, and yeah. So that Alone that's an interesting show. And one of the seasons, I was like watching it. I think it was the very last one I was watching season, and they were introducing the people, and then one of them, it was like, oh, it was like an Oregon contestant, and then it's like, oh yeah, I know where that town is at. And then they went in the guy's house, and then I saw his wife, and I thought, oh crap, I worked with her. It
Oh,
was like I said, and I thought, oh wow. Then I was like rooting for this guy, uh, and yeah, he's like a local legend around this area because in the rural areas, people that live in the rural areas, they are a lot of them are really alike in so many ways, regardless of what your education is or your politics or your
and let me
religion. There's a
interject that it doesn't matter if
yeah,
they're rural in Oregon, Vermont, New Mexico, Texas, they're all very similar. The accent might
yeah,
be
yeah,
different, but they're all the same type of people.
yeah. It's the same type of people that ends up there. Now, I
Yeah.
was born in the city, but I like that show Alone a lot better than I like Survivor. I watched a lot of episodes of Survivor, but what Alone was, it was indifferent. Is they took like 10 people, 8, 9, 10 people, and then they dropped them out off in the wilderness area. I think it's a Canadian show because almost all the shows are in Canada. And then they get like, they get some tarps, and they get some basic survival gear, and then they get their cameras. They have to be their own camera crew too. And
Oh
then
wow.
and so they're yeah, so they're and then they have like a few, like, survival items, and they each get equal number of tarps, and they get a first aid kit. They have a satellite phone, and then they have this other emergency button that they have to keep on their body at all times. So in case there's whatever, a bear attack or something like that, they can push that button, and they can have like a helicopter come in, and and they can be within like 30 minutes from being extracted out of there, and something like that. And then so then they go out, and then there's like a whole orientation process that's probably lasts like a month, and where they teach everybody how to use those cameras, and use the camera equipment and everything. And then they go out to their sites, they drop them off, and then every week they come by and check on them and give them a med check. And then they pick up the memory cards for the cameras and everything. And then you hear like some stories that would happen is that occasionally they would get a call on that satellite phone, and they said, oh, you're not living up to your end of the bargain. You need to run that camera more. You need to be running that camera more. You need to be talking more into that camera, and because you're on this show, if you want to, be on this show, you gotta do your part. And then so they're all survival experts, but adding that additional layer where they have to be their own camera crew. They're out there trying to hunt, and they're doing all this stuff, building their cabins, logging cabins, and all this stuff. And while they are packing they got a couple GoPros, and then they have a regular big camera, and they got to set the tripod up, and then they're stalking along and doing all that stuff. And then so that's what's it's an exciting show. It's not that there's a lot of drama in it, but it's different
Hmm.
because there's a lot of silence in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's an introverted type of drama. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
probably a very kind of quiet show if they're alone.
yeah. You're alone, and then a
Yeah.
lot of people that they end up what they end up doing is they end up narrating their whole life into that camera. And
Would
then
you
if
do
you
something
are
like that? Would you
no, I don't have those skills because I would have to be because like a lot of those guys they end up like in one season is like the guy who won, and it was on Vancouver Island. He was eating slugs, and I it was like
No.
So, Zippy Doo Dah, I've been having that dream for a long time. But one thing about YouTube and doing YouTube is that it it does a number on your ego. And if you have like this ego, like you and we all of us that I don't know, I can't speak for you, Sarah, but I know for me, I feel like my stuff is that. It is all that is great. I got a great stuff and I'm doing that. And especially when I first started this channel, I felt that way. But it wasn't very long before that the YouTube doing it itself, how it whittles away at your ego. And so it's that, and it kind of, it chisels you down to size. And then
You're doing really good, Bill. You have, for both your channels, you have a pretty good subscriber count. Like, you're doing really well. I've been on YouTube with my original channel. It's been 5 years now, and I've been doing with my new channel, Tarot and Oracle for the Soul, for 3 years. And I can't even hit, you
yeah,
know, I can't get over 200 subscribers at all on my original channel. And my Tarot and Oracle for the Soul, since it's more concentrated on just Tarot and Oracle, it's slowly growing. But I get frustrated because I'm like, why isn't YouTube promoting my videos? Like, it's a snail. I can't get
yeah,
over 500. I can't, on one channel, I can't get over
yeah,
300. So it's like,
yeah. Because one of the things I have not done at all is I've not asked anybody to critique my channel.
I haven't done that either.
I have not asked any friends to do it. I haven't
No.
asked any because I don't need to. I don't need to ask. I don't need that input. And because I know what it is.
What is it?
You know,
Like, you
it's
mean
that
you
why well, what it is that I posted a video on this in the summertime, is that it's because my content sucks.
No,
And,
but you just said it's good. Like,
well, I
so
do, but
that
at the same
means like
time,
YouTube beat you down. No.
but it's that okay. You look at I know that coming out here on StreamYard, that you don't get as many views when you use StreamYard as you do if you just come out on go live together with YouTube, but you don't have that option. If I want to go pull somebody in on the street to come in and be on my show, I can't do that on go live together. I think I might be able to. I have to have your email address, and I could pull somebody in. I think it's possible, but this is like something in wanting to have more of a talk show. This is kind of and having more interaction with somebody. This is 3-4 years in the making to do this.
I know what I need to go live more. I don't like going live.
Yeah.
I don't mind hanging out with you, but like hosting my own live, I don't really I find it like overwhelming, like reading the
Mm,
comments and trying to stay on track and like talk like it. I get overwhelmed and then I get lost or I
mm.
get sidetracked or
Well, yeah, and that's why I made that comment, because I got, when I had Roman on here, I think that the conversation devolved really quickly, and I didn't have any questions written out before I had him come on, and so oh well, I that's fine. Maybe he'll come back again. I don't know. It's fine if he doesn't, and so that's just the way it is, and I loved having him on, especially like hearing about how he came to the United States. I like those kinds of stories. you know
yeah.
I was like having a
It's your
side.
curiosity about people. Like you like talking to people and hearing stories
Hmm.
and sharing. So
Yeah, well, 'cause I was like, I was like talking on the side on a conversation about is 18 too young for somebody to get married in today's world? It might be.
I think
In
it is.
today's, you think it is, but then I was like thinking of like, okay, when I was in college, how many people were there that were married as freshmen?
I didn't know any married freshmen
I
in
knew
college.
married. I knew married freshmen.
You did.
I
But
did.
see,
I did.
you're 10, 12 years older than me, so it's
Yeah,
like
I am. I am. And see, and it was, and I think it's that there's that age factor. I'm a little bit older, and then the fact is that people in my age group grew up a little faster.
well, and you guys were the feral generation. You didn't really have what is going on? You didn't have any you didn't have like real parenting. Your parents were like, "Go do what you want to do."
You're right, and that's true. And I had that, and I had like I don't, I mean, so I had this is something that happened, which doesn't happen to a lot of kids that were younger or younger than me. People younger than me is that I would go visit my grandmother in Seaside, and that's 70, 80 miles up. My mom would put me on the Greyhound bus with a note pinned onto my shirt to the bus driver and tell the bus driver, please, here's the money for the ticket. Get my and then make sure that my son gets off at this stop to meet up. And so I'm like 8 years old. Mom puts me on the Greyhound bus by myself with 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 my bag, and I go, um, yeah, zippity doo dah. And I had people, um, when I was in high school. One of my classmates had 2 children by the time she graduated from high school, and so yeah. And then another one of my classmates, I mean, she's like a great grandmother now. And I'm almost 60, and she's almost 60, same age as I do, and she's a well, it's pretty common to be a grandparent when most people, if you start having children when you're like 20 something years old, you're the high you're there's a high likelihood that you might be a grandparent by the time you hit 50 years of age. And
Oh, I
you
know
know,
people who are grandparents at 40.
yes.
I've worked with
Eh,
those people, but I so with your generation, you grew up a lot faster, and like that story, your grandmother like penned the note on
no,
you.
that was my mom, and
Oh,
I went
your
to go
mom
visit and I
to
went to go
visit your
visit my
grandma.
grandmother. Yeah, I was traveling by myself on the Greyhound at 8 years of age, with
Yeah.
help, of course.
So you grew up like super fast because
And
you had to
yeah,
like navigate, and then so like you were grown up, your generation was like grown up by 18, right? So
yeah,
maybe getting married at 18 was fine. But then like the next generation, like my generation, they're like, "Oh, you're not really grown up until like what, 25, 24, 25, right?"
yes, and that's
And
right, that's right,
now with the
it's
youngest
even.
generation, they're saying
Hmm,
um you're you're not the newest generation, they're not going to be like full grown adults until they're like 30. So
yes,
it's a lot of factors. It's
that's
what
right.
you're
There's a
exposed
lot
to.
of.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's right. And then I think about like my uncle Randall, who I never met. He his mom died when he was like 12,
Uh-huh.
and he was. I think there's 6 kids. I think his dad was an immigrant from and came to the United States in the 1880s, And oh, look at the little pooch! What a
This is
beautiful
Bella.
dog.
Thanks.
And and so my grandfather, he took care of his mother as she was passing away when he was like 8 or 9 years of age. And then, um, you know, and so there's my Uncle Randall, whom I'd never met before. He leaves home at 12 to go to work.
Oh yeah.
He
Yeah.
goes and he gets a job on a ranch hand. Now he's not by himself. He was goes out to a cattle ranch or horse ranch, and he gets a job in a bunkhouse. So you're never really you're not without like supervision of adult supervision, but you're in this, you know, you're in an environment where you're thrown in with people of all ages, adults and everything. There's no safeguards or anything. And so by the time he was like 20 years of age, he was married with a few children, and
Yeah.
he had his own ranch. He had bought his own ranch. Maybe he was a little older when that happened, but that was the thing, is he started work at 12. And
Yeah.
so when you go into the ancient world where that's when a lot of people ended up getting married, was right around the time they entered into puberty.
Right.
And you know or I
It's
look
just
at
different. It's all about circumstances and the time period and
that's right.
everything
And yeah, the
surrounding it.
different.
Maria,
Yeah,
my dog's name is Bella. She's
Bella.
Yeah, she's an old lady.
Yeah, yeah. So Bella, it's little Bella. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I was like thinking about, because it really had dawned on me when I was taking when I was taking studying theology at that Quaker university, and was working on a master's degree and going through church history, and they were just talking about this kinds of stuff. And then and they talked about what the average age that 2,000 years ago that people got married at. When did they marry their daughters off at? It was, it was really young. And I was thinking about that Abraham story, and
Which one?
Sarah, the
Oh,
Sarah one,
Sarah.
where she is barren, well, maybe the
Until she's
reason that
like
she
what,
was.
80?
Yeah, but that was how the story is. But maybe what the real, if there was a real Sarah, maybe the reason she was barren was that she hadn't entered puberty yet.
Oh gosh, that's scary. That's terrifying. But
But
yeah,
that, you think about, think about it. I know this is probably an adult conversation, like we shouldn't be talking about that, but you talk about that because it really. And then it dawned. This other thing dawned on me was when I used to go around to a lot of pioneer cemeteries, and you see all the little headstones of young people, and then I read Tropic of Cancer,
mm-hmm.
Henry Miller's Trump, and then that the Henry Miller character, he talked about losing his wife, died in childbirth. His wife was 13 years of age, and then I thought, oh my God, how many of those small tombstones of young people were people who died in childbirth, the children who died in childbirth.
So Bill, let me be your therapist for a minute. It's sounding like you are wishing you were married right now. That you're like lonely.
Well,
You
you know what?
wish
I'm taking care of my mom, who's 86 years of age.
you froze.
The internet just froze out. Yeah, we
Yeah.
both froze. So maybe I sometimes think about that. Um,
I personally think
it,
18 is way too young to get married. The first time I got married was 28 and I was still too young. And the second time I got married was 39 and again, still too young. Like, or maybe some people just should not get married. Like, it's interesting because um it's a complicated thing, it just depends on the person, it depends on experiences, it depends on, you're over there like, oh, what would I, maybe like, what would have happened if I got married at 18? And I'm over here thinking,
Mm.
what would have happened if I just never got married ever? Like, I'm like, freedom.
Well, then
But it's
maybe.
also a different with the sexes because, as a male, as a man, there's different, it's a different social construct of marriage, like what marriage means and
Mhm.
like the benefits compared to being a woman and what it means and the benefits or the not benefits, right? So
I think that by me not getting married, it allowed me the freedom to be myself.
yeah, you get to develop yourself and be who you are and discover you. And I think
Yes.
that's the beauty of not being married. And that's why I
And
think 18 is too young. That's why I
yeah.
think nobody should get married until maybe 30.
Mm. Yeah. So zippity doo dah, are you married? Let me just ask you out there if you maybe you're not, but maybe you have been. You gave it a go, but or maybe you are married and it's and it is what it is.
And Maria,
And
if you're not married yet, you just said you're 25, don't get
no,
married.
she I think she's
She
no.
said I turned
I,
25 this year and my mother's 50.
no, I turned 25 the year my mother turned 50.
Oh.
That's not
Maria,
this year. That's yeah, yeah. And no, I don't know. I think about it because I'm getting older and I think about it a little bit, but then it's like I don't know. I have to go through that whole process, the whole dating process. I have to do all that, and I was such a failure at it the other times that I tried it, and you froze again.
dating
But you
takes up
know,
so much of your time and energy. And like, look, you get to spend your time painting and like
doing
creating
other
things.
thing. Yeah, I think that because I had this conversation with Jeff the other day, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, is that I would have been one of those types of individuals who would have benefited from an arranged marriage.
Hmm.
That's the way I felt when I was younger.
Hmm.
I felt that way in my 20s. I felt that way in my 30s, and I still feel that way. That for me, for my personality type, and for everything else, it would have been better if that arrangement was set up by my folks and her folks, and it was that you have that, and then you guys get to know each other, and it'll then you have those expectations on you that this is whatever, and that's it, and you make and somehow you make that work or not. All you have to do is read the book Alaska to find out that there was lots of people who that situation didn't work for them, and they ran out on their wives, they ran out on their children, and they went to Alaska to go find gold. You know,
And
I
for
mean Alaska,
freedom. For
and for
freedom.
freedom, and Alaska was filled with married men
Yep.
who skipped out on their wives and skipped out on their families. They skipped out on the church because that, and then they hooked up with someone else when they were up there. They weren't married because they couldn't get married because they couldn't get divorced. And that was the type that's the type of people that built Alaska.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that was that. This is an interesting conversation.
I don't know. This is bringing up, and we don't usually talk about this stuff, but I was a women's studies major. So this is kind of my this is uh, an interesting topic to me. We discuss the male loneliness epidemic. Like they've made it a big deal right now in the media.
Mm-hmm.
However, I feel like men have always kind of put themselves, that rugged individuality, like running off to Alaska or someone else at the wild, wild west to
Mm-hmm.
go find gold or to
Yes.
just, like you said, run away from the church or run away from their families.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying I don't know if marriage, like we as a society and like studies say, oh, marriage benefits men. However, why is it always, for the most part, it's men running away? So, like, I find this interesting that if marriage is set up for men by men to benefit
Mm-hmm.
men, they get a lot of free labor, stereotypically from women. They
Yes.
get women to clean and cook and take care of them and, schedule their
Yeah. Yeah.
appointments and raise their kids and, do all these things. Yet the men are still running away looking for freedom. So,
Yes, because
how
men
is
are
the
basically
male,
lazy.
huh?
Men are
What?
basically lazy. Men are lazy. And it goes
Sorry,
back.
go.
It goes back. And my buddy
Yes.
who's going through chemo right now, and he would talk about this stuff all the time. But he liked with anthropology and talking, and you think that the men in a few thousand years ago, they only worked like 2 hours a day,
Yeah.
and then the women did everything. They were
Everything.
chewing on the hides, and then they were sitting around, telling their stories, their hunting tales or whatnot, or maybe they were making some new spears or this or that. But the workload was like 2 hours a day, maybe 3 hours a day. But
And
then
it be
occasionally they would have to
it
be called upon to go do it, whatever, to go fight,
Yeah, and then they bitch and moan and whine that they are so tired and they did so much work. And you know what? If you go into any office, I can guarantee you any office, because every office I worked at was mainly 90% women. But those
Mm-hmm.
10, yeah, you're watching a feminist. No, you're not, it's not a feminist channel. I'm a feminist. Anyway, so you go into any office, it's 90% women. The men are sitting around shooting the shit and not doing any work, yet they're the ones getting the promotions. And I just found out, after 20 years of working in office work, that it's because men like promote themselves and have healthy egos
Mm.
and ask for the promotions, and women are over there working 3 times as hard trying to prove
Yeah.
themselves and to be like noticed and be like, oh, give me the promotion, but they're not getting the promotions because they're not asking
Mm.
or applying because they have low self-esteem. And no, yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, not all men are lazy. I don't think Bill's lazy. My husband's not lazy.
No,
you
but
know
there, when it comes to like, okay, I'm not doing the housework, and it might be as a caregiver, that's kind of some of the job duties to do is the housework, and then I just like I've said, it's like, I try, but it was just like, oh God, I can't do it. And I know that
I joke
women have
I
a
joke I joke with my husband that my women's card has been pulled because I'm supposed to be organized and like to clean, and I don't want to clean.
well, I haven't really met very many people who like to clean. I just met a lot of people who have a sense of duty and they do it.
Yeah.
But I have my first cousin. She's got similar neurodivergency as me. She's never married. You go over to her house, and every room is full of crafts. It's a craft house. She has like a loom in one room, and then there's the spinning wheels, and then she makes her living teaching sewing, and she has a degree in fashion design.
Oh, that's
And
so cool. I love that.
and then she has two uncles that never married. They were her dad and her uncles were immigrants from the Azore Islands. They came a long time ago, and only one. But now one of her uncles has passed on. He died like 2 days after he retired. It was like a situation like that,
That's
where he called up his work on a Friday and said, "Hey, I'm retired," and then he was dead by Monday. It was something like that.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, no one ever really knew anything about him, and he somebody's calling for me. I gotta. Can you just hang out and talk a bit? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Mom?
Zippity doodah, are you still here? Even though we're talking about feminist stuff? Or did you leave?
You just have to brush your teeth and do stuff.
Maria's still here. Hey, Maria.
Yeah, so you just need to.
Thanks for hanging out with us. You didn't want to jump on and chat with us? Cool. I'm not very good at just talking. I don't know what to talk about.
Okay.
You've never done the video chat thing? Yeah. This is my first time on this. As you saw, my technical difficulties. I don't know if you did. If you saw how difficult it was for me to go on.
Water in here? Yeah. You have water in your CPAP tank. You put some fresh water in. You
Our
have water
first
in
date
your
would be one
CPAP
awkward
machine.
day.
All right.
Yeah.
Good night.
You're right, Maria.
I'm fine. I'm just doing a program.
It is just us. And he's back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
All right, I'm come back. I'm just I take care of my my mom. She's 85, and so we just had to do a few things, and because you got, you know, because the older you get, the harder it is to operate the TV. Oh, well, that's just the way it is. It's going to be that way for me too someday, hopefully. And anyways, what one
You didn't miss anything, just me being awkward, and that's why Maria said our first date will be awkward.
I wasn't fighting with my mother. I was just giving some instructions. That wasn't what I was doing. I was just doing some instructions. There was no fighting going on, and I'm hard of hearing this. I can't hear out of this ear at all, and so it's not. It's very I guess I should have turned the mic off. I'll have to do that the next time. Anyways, what were we talking about? You were talking about women's studies and men being lazy, and which is not necessarily true, but it's just like different different jobs and different things, but it kind of goes way back. It goes way back to when we were sort of running around with spears and everything. It goes back to that time. It goes back to forever. And but then the other flip side of it is that as a man in these primitive societies, you were called upon to defend your family and defend your village at any time. And so there was that expectation. Yeah, I don't think that was what was going on. I'm sure it was just we're just having a conversation about what is, and it's that we are that we have to talk about what's
Current
I wouldn't
events. What's
current
happening?
events, what's
What
happening. Yeah,
Yeah. And what's
and
happening is like as a woman, we have Zippity Doo over here mad that I'm a feminist. But as a woman, I'm just terrified living in this society right now. And the extreme rage and anger of, I won't say men in society because I don't really see it in real life, but it's like online.
yeah. Well,
The
online is like
bullying
a
and the
yeah. Well, when it comes to like meeting people, what I recommend, and I haven't really, what I recommend for anybody is to learn how to do social dancing.
yeah.
And because it used to be was like it used to be that was what you learned that in like high school PE or grade school PE. You learn how to waltz.
We had to
You
do
learn how
square
to,
dancing. Did you have
or
to do
yeah,
that?
yeah, I did square dancing like one or two times, but it was a
Uh,
lot of fun. But
we did that.
but but there was like in the times before, of like from my grandfather's generation, from my father's generation, it was learning how to do ballroom dancing. And you see, it was
Yeah.
very important to those were because they had like Grange halls everywhere, and down at the Saturday dance, you had for meeting people and mating up. Your options were church and that Grange hall,
Yeah.
or if you lived in the city and you were like an immigrant from Sweden or Norway, it would be the Sons of Bitley Hall, or the Viking Hall, or this or that, the lodge. You go to the lodge. If you ever watch like an episode of Honeymooners, I mean, there's all about going bowling or going to the lodge or doing something like that. But then those lodges would have dances and things like that. But most of those activities were male activities for male fraternity activities, so that you could have this male bonding time that was away from work with like your family and your friends, and that way of maintaining friendships throughout life, because people don't do that anymore. I mean, how many people have childhood friends that are still you're still there friends with. And
Uh-oh, did you freeze, Bill?
yeah, we both froze. So I have a probably, oh yeah, it's like 3/4 strength on the
You got to do Taibo, Maria? I want to do Taibo.
on the thing there.
Oh man, Taibo sounds like fun.
Uh, I don't know, Zippity Doo Dah. You might be drunk, and this might be 1825. But when I'm talking about what dance and doing it and men dancing and I social dancing is a hell of a lot of fun, and it's much more fun to waltz than it is to go to the gym and work out. But I I haven't been able to bring myself around to going into one. And anyway, I'm not going to drive that
Bill,
far.
have you should go take some ballroom dancing and see if you can meet someone, because you know what, before my husband and I got married, he took dancing lessons, and he'd go and just like dance, and he's really shy, and
Oh,
so to get out of his
I
shyness,
did I
he did
did
that.
contra dancing for 10 years. I did I in 2010 I was taking some ballroom dance and stuff like that. It was with the ballroom dancing when I lived up in Seattle. I danced. I went dancing 5 times a month, and
That's cool.
then but then if I could got a ride, it would go up to maybe 6 times a month because it was two. There were one waltz, 5 contra dances, and then if I got a ride, it would. I keep freezing. My internet is failing here. I'm sorry. So that makes for. I'm gonna have to try this again tomorrow night. Um, maybe maybe I'll get that SIM card activated. And but I like doing this. This is fun. And it took a while to get the conversation going, and we got an interesting conversation that was like you know I
I
enjoyed that.
scared your viewers though, Bill. I wasn't sure if I was gonna scare you.
Oh, that doesn't scare me. I mean, I'm like, gosh, uh, I'm kind of hard to. It depends on what we're talking about. I'm not. One of the things I want to just try to stay away from on this channel is partisan politics or
Yeah,
party politics. Is
yeah.
because I don't really want to know what your voting record is, and
I don't want.
you don't really want to know what my voting record is, and it'll probably surprise you anyway, because you might think you know me, and but you don't, and because uh, you know.
I This is what I miss, like about pre-internet, right? Is that
hmm
people didn't discuss these things, right? Like you didn't discuss politics, you didn't discuss religion. Like there was social rules and things you didn't discuss, right? And
Yeah, but I did though.
you did? Oh, and
Oh
then
yeah, because I studied religion in college.
oh,
I
that's
had
right.
half of and I went in and did more graduate studies in religion, and
Yeah, but did you go around talking about politics though? You
yes,
did. Well,
yeah,
you
I
know
did.
what? I did too because I went to college in DC, and so that's what everybody talked about 24/7, and we had CNN playing 24/7. So
hmm
it was like politics 24/7. But I don't know, like once I left college, you didn't have those discussions with people, is my point.
Oh, I had those discussions with my. Oh, actually, I went on forums. I went on online forums like
Oh,
Craigslist, and I would go. What I was really good at, um, Sarah, was mirroring people and
hmm.
mirroring their points and coming back at you. Because when my brain was even sharper when I was younger,
Yeah.
because I did this with my dad all the time, and my dad and I would just he would start talking, and then I said, oh well, blah 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 this, and then maybe I'd steady up a little bit more for the next time, and then pretty soon be in a conversation. Oh, it only took 10 minutes to get my dad to start shouting, you know, and I did that all the way up until almost until he passed away, and then when he died, that wasn't fun anymore, and I stopped doing that, and
So you stopped doing it with him or just like across the board with like everybody?
not with everybody. Um, with some people, not with everybody. You know, a lot of it started in high school, and being that, I started. I started doing like debate and stuff on subjects that I had no vested interest in.
That's a good
And
way to do that.
yeah. And so if it would be like talking about abortion, or it'd be talking about, I actually wouldn't touch that conversation at all, because it's that's always been a hot button thing, and so you don't want to talk about that. But people did, and they were, they get there, and then they end up crying afterwards, because, or whatever, it got, because it was so intensely, or it would be like religion, or it would be this or that, and or I'd be like, what, 18, 19 years of age, and in my backpack I had like 10 copies of Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods, that I picked up for like 10 cents a piece at a used bookstore. And then I get into a conversation with an evangelical, and then pretty soon I said, well, did you know that your God is an alien? Something like that. And then, oh, and look, here's a book. Why don't you have this book? And then they would leave the conversation, and they'd be crying. I don't know if they were crying because they came there with this they think that, oh, we need to convert Bill, or they were crying for my soul because Bill was going to be burning in hell. I don't really know, but that was this that you know
Or you just like straight up terrified them.
or yeah, just something like that, or it's like, oh my god, this is like crazy, and or
Because
I
the
or
best way to get them to like not knock on your door ever again is when you open the door and you let them know like you're, Buddhist or Wicca or pagan, and then they'll put you on the do not contact them list because they don't want to get influenced.
yeah, I had a when I was in grad school and studying theology and stuff like that, and I invited the Jehovah Witnesses into my house
Yeah.
to talk, and then we'd be talking along, and then they would be talking about their thing, and I said, oh, you know what? That was like, your religion is like this one heresy that this was all hashed out in the church and in blah 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 time period, and they said heresy, and I said, yeah, you're a heretic. If you wanna be saved, you got to come to the Catholic Church, and you're welcome to come.
Yeah.
This is the mass times are, oh, there's a mass coming up real soon here for the evening mass. You can come with me,
Yeah.
and you can get right with Jesus. You can get right with God. Just you got to become a Catholic. Just got to give up that stuff, and then then for a while they didn't come around,
Yeah.
and then yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and then yeah, anyways, that's and then I was like, then I wasn't, what do I was working a night shift job, and then when the Jehovah Witnesses were coming by, I was asleep, and I was like, why are you guys? And they said, you want to come? And I says, no, I'm working nights. And I'm standing there in my underwear or something like that. And is they want to come? Can we come in and tell you about Jesus? And I'm thinking, no, you can't.
Well, they're probably
you know,
like, well, why did you open the door? You should have just
yeah,
ignored them.
yeah. I don't know why, because who knows? It's like I hit my microphone, but
You
yeah,
probably like the conversations. You like to like poke the bear, like do 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 do.
yeah. I did. I did like to do that. It was a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah.
It was because I'm not an athlete, and this was an activity this was something that I could do. And because like at one time I was like one of the best chess players in this small town that I was living in. But until this one kid like got to be like 8 or 9 years of age, and he was like then became the best chess player in the town for about a decade. But yeah, yeah, it is kind of fun to mess with people, and just a little bit, and It's fun until it stops being fun. Because there's a point in time where you do start thinking about what maybe that other person is feeling,
Right. Exactly.
you know, and that's where I'm at kind of now.
Look at Pumpkin, he's so cute.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, he's just doing stuff and trying new things here. But I really have liked this conversation. This was pretty good. But I did most of the talking though, and
Well, I stirred the pot a little bit.
yeah, with your radical feminism.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe radical humanism stuff. Poke the bear, yeah, with our radical talk. It's not really radical. It's just, it's like I don't. It's like to really become radical, you have to push yourself way up over the top because female voices have been silenced and suppressed for so long, and then there's always this, and then when females do talk, it's like then they think, oh, it's radical feminism if they just want to voice their opinion at all. And
Exactly. See, Bill gets it. Bill, maybe you may be just you may be a feminist after all.
that may be, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's just about letting people be who they are, because I think
Yeah,
that's what's important. And
being a humanist,
mhm.
letting everybody talk and treating people fairly and
Well, we have to have a lot of, for a big society to work, you gotta have a little bit of live and let live. You have to have a lot of live and let live. And
a
and I
lot.
really,
Yeah.
I think that our society today has way too many rules and laws.
I think so
It's
too.
it's way too authoritarian, and it's just, and there's too many ways that a person could end up in jail, or end up in trouble. But that's because we also have this for-profit prison system,
Yeah. We have
which
like the
is,
most people incarcerated per capita than any other country in the world, and that's
yeah.
ridiculous.
That's right, because we have a for-profit prison system, and we should not, and it's not even something that is there for. It's not even there to help reform people. It's just to keep people there, and I'm
Well, and
surprised that it.
it's modern day slavery because then they get free labor from
Mm-hmm.
those inmates and then those inmates can't vote. So if you incarcerate enough, people that they consider that, the 1% considers undesirables, then you take away their freedom to be able to vote. And voting is really powerful. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
who you vote, but like being allowed to vote is powerful. So you take enough people's rights to vote, then you've enslaved a population. And then you have all the
yeah.
propaganda that, with the media,
Mm-hmm.
like we have as a society enslaved ourselves. We've
Well, yeah,
enslaved
and then
ourselves mentally and financially and physically.
it's my understanding that in Australia is also a conservative country,
Very, very
and they
conservative.
have a law that you have to vote.
Yeah, and I think that even if you've been incarcerated, you still have the right to vote.
Yeah, and I think that our country would still be conservative if everyone was voting, because it was just that basically the types of people who came here and so forth is because we are a again. Okay, we're just freezing up all over the place, and because we are, because that was just the types of the people who came here and the way it is. And now, granted, policy wise, we're at one place and then everyone is, then we're at this other place. But I just kind of feel like if they had passed a law that everybody has to have a ballot and at least fill it out and turn it in, I don't think that I think that I don't think that it would be any I don't think it would be any more progressive than it already is.
Yeah.
Because it's just that because the people won't change. It's just a matter of, okay, you have to either inform yourself or you have to do it this way. And then if people want to reform immigration, just have a national health care plan.
Right.
If we had a single payer plan here, our immigration would just tighten down to maybe to just the number of immigrant workers to come in to do certain jobs, and it would be tighter than it has ever been. But I think that one of the reasons why they don't want to do that is they do want that immigrant labor, and that's one of the reasons there's all these things going on with ICE and all that, but the machine still wants that cheap labor.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So explain this because I don't understand. Like, how would having, I mean, I'm all for universal health care, but how
It
would
would be
that,
because it would just like in Canada. In Canada, their immigration system. Well, okay, if it's like you go try to immigrate to any of those social democracies anywhere,
yeah,
and unless you have a certain skill set, or you're coming in with money, or you have certain things, you can't go there.
right,
You can't go there. You can't, to be a Canadian citizen, you have to marry somebody to go in. But if you're like my age, you
you
can't
can't,
you can't go. You
right,
can't go. You can't go there as an old person. You can't go. You have to. They have to be. You have to have been working and paying into the system, and for a certain amount of time, they have to have a sense that you can do that before they'll let you come in. And
right,
so
okay,
and then so why are and so for one thing, if we had a national health care plan, a single payer, everybody would have an ID.
yeah,
They would have that Medicare for all ID. And that national ID thing that they want to have, well, we would have it. Every single person would be every citizen of this country would be required to have that ID. It would probably have a chip on it to track you on all that, and a tracking chip, because that's the nature of the way things are today. And you would have that. You would have to present that ID to go do anything, to get a Band-Aid at a whatever, it free at the point of service. And so you'd have that national ID, and then also they would be wanting to make sure that they didn't you didn't have people coming in just to use services, and so it would just completely tighten down the immigration. And so it would force us as a nation to actually talk about the immigration rules and what we want and what we don't want, and those things that we haven't done as a civilization. There's all these things that we haven't done. We don't talk, and that these are these things to, and we could still have, like I say, Australia has a real conservative culture, and they have a single payer plan. Yeah, Greenland is the next new, you know. Well, it might be, maybe, but if you've seen stuff about Greenland, and that territory is pretty damn rugged. I think that Alaska would be way easier to make a life for yourself than to go to Greenland with how much ice and everything there is there still, even though it's melting off. But nevertheless, that's in my opinion. In my opinion,
that
the
makes
you
sense.
got to, you know. because in my opinion we need to talk to each other, but you look at the how economically it kind of makes sense to have it would allow for greater economic freedom if we had a single payer healthcare system.
Oh
And
yeah, for
because
sure.
you know, you let's say you want to open up a hot dog stand, but you can't because you got some health issue or whatever, and so you're forced to go to work for Amazon, or you're forced to go to work for this or that, for that health benefits because of your somebody in your
Or all the
family.
or just even all the people who, I mean, I can't tell you the number of coworkers I had who were working, going through radiation and chemotherapy. You know, they had cancer and they had to be at work every day,
Yeah,
regardless of how sick they were. And I don't think
yeah,
that's right. It's like if you're fighting for your life, that should be your job,
hmm,
is fighting for your life. You shouldn't
yeah,
have to be going into some office and get stressed out from stupid stuff because um all office jobs are just, it's bullshit work. It's just bullshit. There's no reason. 90% of the job doesn't is just filler, you know? And there's only
yeah,
10% of real work.
yeah, and that's probably where where they were having some of that work getting done by AI may not be such a bad thing, but it's okay. It puts people out of work, but maybe there's different types of work that people should be doing. So you want that spam cap? Well, my mother, when she was younger, she wanted at the Oregon State Fair. She went into the Oregon State Fair, and I was probably in my 20s or something like that, and where I don't know where I was at. It doesn't matter. I was and so she and so after me and my sister left the home, my parents could have some life, and enjoy themselves and go out to things like the Oregon State Fair. Well, anyway, there was a Hormel booth there, and so she filled out this questionnaire and filled out all the questions right, and she won a spam hat and a spam apron, and the apron is worn out. But then she threw the spam hat in her closet. Now, like 3 4 years ago, she was when she before she got like COVID, and then got a hit on her memory and stuff like that. And she was cleaning out her closet, and she found it, and she said, "Oh, do you want this?" And I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely, I want that hat." So that's how I got this hat.
So, Bill, I wanted to, because I know you love sci-fi. Did you
Hmm.
watch the TV show Upload on Amazon?
Is that a recent one?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. I maybe I should. Is that the last one that was similar to like that? Was I watched Altered Carbon when I had access to Netflix. That was before they clamped down on that password sharing, and one of
Oh,
my
yeah.
nieces had us logged in. So it's even cooler that there's a backstory. Yeah, I didn't just get it. You're right. I got it that way. That's how I. That's the backstory in this hat. And anyway, because
So,
I'm losing my hair, so I gotta have a hat.
I didn't see that show you were talking about, but on Upload, of course, it's like basically they're telling you where Amazon is going to take the United States, where it's going to take society.
Oh.
And the show, like, they eat 3D printed food,
Hmm.
and you know everybody wants to get uploaded into the cloud, but it's not, all it is then you have to keep paying. So even in death, your consciousness is on the cloud, but you have to keep paying, or
Mm.
your family keeps paying for you to be on the cloud. And then what they're eventually going to do is like then download you into a a clone, a clone of your body, and then you get re-downloaded and you can re-enter society, but it takes like so much time to grow your body. So while you're You're waiting for your body to be cloned. You're in the cloud. So anyway, have you heard of 3D printed food before in any other shows?
I haven't, except we heard about it in Star Trek with the food with the original Star Trek and their food synthesizers and then and so forth, and then with their synthahol stuff, which I've always wanted that stuff. That we would have you could have a cocktail, you could have some whiskey, you could drink this stuff, and then when you get called into service or whatever intoxication you have would just vanish. It'd be gone. You could have, and then so you get called into duty, and then all the effects of the alcohol are gone. So it would be like this temporary alcohol experience, or it'd be this alcohol experience where I love cognac. I love cognac, and I love Blanco tequila, and I love like some blended scotches, and I like good whiskey. I like rye whiskey, but I can't have that because of with my blood sugar, and also because of the migraines. But it's like, but you can't to this date, you can't make a non-alcoholic cognac.
Right.
You can make a non-alcoholic gin.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But you can't do that. Yeah. The scotch. Yeah. Good scotch.
So
yeah, like
anyway,
yeah.
I was watching shorts, and it wasn't like a parody. Ooh, will you make me some tea? Are you having tea? Yeah, can you make me one? Sorry. So I was just watching this short, and this woman, like, I don't know if she's an attorney or like a scientist or what she is, but she was saying that, all the controversy around Campbell's soup, right? Campbell's soup was saying like, oh, if you're poor, or that company, like, just eat cereal, or I don't know. There was all this controversy earlier in the year. So anyway, she was saying that Campbell soup uses 3D printed meat in their food. And I didn't know. I'm like, isn't that science fiction? Isn't 3D? So I haven't, Maria, what kind of tea? It's actually hot chocolate. My husband's eating hot chocolate. But yeah, like, have you heard of that? Like, I haven't researched it yet. But
I haven't.
Like, I gotta go down this rabbit hole. Is 3D printed food a reality? Like, I know you can like 3D print their 3D printed houses.
Well, I wonder if they don't use that pink slime stuff. You remember that stuff? It was like in they talked about pink.
That, like, it's from that 70s movie.
No, but yeah, but you mean it's not? We're not like talking to Soylent Green.
Yeah,
but pink slime. Pink slime. It was a meat product. It was a byproduct from the meat industry, but there was that. But then there was another thing called meat glue.
Okay.
Where they would make it gluing steak together or something to make it into something else or whatever. I don't know it was, but I do know it wouldn't surprise me because you have vat grown meat, and they have vat grown chicken,
right?
But to this date, the vat grown meat is more expensive because the agriculture states that deal, that take care of that the poultry and the beef industry have been lobbying against allowing vat grown meat to go into production level, to be a rival. Because I really want them to do the vat grown meat to being into to supplant the whole factory meat industry. And then, because then what it would do is that the thing is that if they did, now granted it's big money, but it would be like the same companies could do it and still make the same big money. I don't get it, but here's the thing: is if we did that as our civilization and this happened, it would open up the market for small farmers that had like 10, 20, 30 cows or whatever, and that they were doing their organic grass-fed, grass-finished beef or whatever. A lot of these innovations can open up the market for new innovations or different ways of doing things. And because there is people who like uh, grass fed, or you want natural, you want chickens that were run around out in the yard, or you put them into an environment to where they're safe from the coyotes, and they're safe from the predatory birds and stuff like that. But for the most part, you have the free range thing, and so the vat grown, well, just like now, it wouldn't, but it would. I think that it would allow a market for these smaller farmers and people to get in there and have a seat at the table. Have a seat at the table.
But okay, so say that 3D printed food is real.
Yes,
Um, do you think it would be healthy?
it depends on what it's made out of.
Okay, so I just did a quick search. It says 3D printed food uses additive manufacturing to layer edible materials like purees, pastes, and powders to create customized shapes and designs. So it is kind of like what you're talking about, that like the byproducts, it sounds.
Yeah. Oh, she disappeared. So our internet is really bad all the way around. Her internet and my internet. Yeah. So you had how was that? How did that steaks taste? I bet it was awesome. I don't think I'd ever had Wagyu before, but I mean, I used to go buy a couple prime rib roasts a year when I was bartending and working at the casino, and my money diet was way more than it is now. But I do a lot of bulk buying. I go into high-end grocery stores, and I go into their bulk bins, and I buy like lentils. I buy organic soybeans. I buy nutritional yeast, and then I like different kind of seeds and psyllium husk and these kind of things. I'm really trying to control get my blood sugar, my A1C down. It's
Yeah.
it's almost into diabetes. I just need to get it. I need to get it under control. And yeah, but but it's, I don't know.
I don't know if I
I,
want to eat 3D printed food, and I don't know, but is it really any different than like the byproducts that we have been eating, like the pink stuff you're talking about? So I don't know. And maybe it's just innovation and
I think it's just innovation. And but what about spam? Spam is like your original 3D printed food.
yeah, yeah.
You know, if you look at it, it was just and it was made for in World War II for the troops. And
Yeah, so I guess in a way that ideas it's been around for a long time. It's nothing new. As they say, there's nothing new under the sun. Like it's all
yeah,
been done before.
yeah, and so
Hey
yeah, I don't
Bill,
know.
it was
Yeah,
so
you got to
fun
go.
hanging. Yeah, it's been yeah, it's been fun. I gotta go to sleep. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, all right. Well, I'm really glad that we can hang out together. And so I'll be doing, probably trying to do this every Friday if I can,
Very cool.
but as often as I can. I think next Friday I won't be able to. Is the third Saturday of the month next Saturday?
No, in two
No.
Saturdays, two in 2 weeks.
Okay, then I can do another one of these. I'll schedule it out around like 8:30, 8:30 or something like that, so I can watch the news hour. And because I'm like trying to cut down on the number of I'm trying to cut down on the amount of political stuff I take into my body.
That's a good
And
idea.
and so like I wake up in the morning and then I sit out and I look out a window and I have my coffee and I turn on one of those seasonal affected disorder lights and I turn on one of those things. I look at that and then I just sit there and sometimes I'll go and then I'll go, do some journaling, or I'll go draw a tarot card and see what is it that I need to be thankful for today. Do something like that, do some kind of a devotional type of thing, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I'm using that language and it might not be the right word to use, but I'm kind of thinking in that term, and to do that and then to not, and then really limit the types of voices that I bring in order to, I don't know, be at more at peace. I really want to be a better reader. And it seems like when I'm too busy, it's not my latest deck, but this is a very nuanced deck.
That's cool.
It's a deck of playing cards. Oh, that's exactly what it is.
And you're using it as your divination and
yes, I use
meditation and stuff.
No, I use it only. What I've been doing with the other channel, and I started doing this, is Sundays I will do I'm asking, getting people to ask some of the questions, and I'll do a video response for their question, and then I'll do it directly into a TikTok editor, and so you have a 10-minute time span, and so you start and stop the camera. You may have to start over, but it's trying to challenge yourself to do it this way. And then whereas if you were to just do it directly the other way, you might be tempted to do too much editing on your video. Yeah. And I'm trying to cut that process down. And then it's like the time. You have 10 minutes now. I still don't have all the cards memorized, and I have to do a little bit of looking up, but I'm just following the Rider-Waite system as applied to these as your minor arcana cards. But then you kind of get a sense of there's the pictures on them, and then if you go look in deeper, you go look up these saints and you look at keywords and so forth and stuff like that, and that adds a different layer. And I'm finding that this is way more open than the Rider-Waite tarot system, and then it allows for a more expansive reading.
Yeah, you get different things. It's more intuitive and less like, okay, this is, it's not like feeding it to you.
That's right. And then the other thing you get is that you have the picture on there, so it allows you to do reversals.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that then I'm also looking at just the numerology angle of it. Right. But I'm thinking, but when I'm doing the reversals, I'm thinking of up numbers and down numbers.
Okay.
And so if it's like a 1 and it's a 1, the numbers add up to a 1 and it's a down number, then it's like, oh, you're stuck.
Yeah.
You're stuck. You're stuck. Or if it's like an 8 number and it's a down number, and it's not, you're not whatever you're trying to do is not working. Your manifestation is blocked. Or if it's a 9, it's like, well, you need to go into the next cycle, but you're stuck. So there's a lot of being stuck, and it allows you to, I don't know. That's the way I kind of see it.
That's cool.
Or you're manifesting, your heart energy is not, it's whatever. I don't know. It's getting me to be a bit more. And so I'm working on that. And then when I eventually get all those cards memorized, then I have these other decks to use.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. And anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing. And so I'm just not doing as many hours of live streaming as I was doing. And I'm making sure that I try to take one day off a week.
Yeah, that's important because I don't know. I mean, I was doing what, like 2 videos a week, and I got burnt out. Like it's exhausting just doing two. So I don't know how you did all those lives and you had all these videos going up all the time on both your channels. I was like, how do you do it? Like I get so tired.
I get tired too, but I'm driven.
Your drip. Yeah.
I'm extremely driven, and my sister is driven. My dad was driven, and there's just this internal drive to produce, and I've been that way all my life. Or not, maybe not all my life, but all of my life that I call myself as an adult.
Yeah.
And I think that probably, in whatever that adulthood means, it probably happened someplace around 27 to 30, somewhere in that area. Yeah, and that's probably the average age that most men get married in our culture, and that's probably about right.
Yeah.
27 to 33.
Yeah.
And but anyways, that's all. I thank you very much for coming on and popping on and for this first night having this open talk
Yeah.
show.
Thanks for having me, Bill. I'm glad my husband was here to help me figure out the technical difficulties.
Yeah, and hopefully next week maybe other people might pop on, or I can ask them. Maybe we can get some more people.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Get a nice panel going on, and then eventually I'll activate that SIM card, and then maybe you can get some. Right now it's just a tablet, but and have callers come in. I don't know. It just depends on if this works or not. Because there's a part of me that wants to take that line and drop it right off the bill, so it drops my phone bill down.
Good
But
night,
anyways,
Maria.
good night,
All right.
Maria.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
I'm
And
gonna log
is
off.
it all right? Thank you very much for being here, Sarah, and we'll see you the next time.
Bye,
Yeah,
Bill.
bye bye. Sippity doo dah. Thank you. Graham, thank you. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Vedant Studio, SoCo, California. Thank you. And thank you everyone else who came in to say hello during the chat. And I'll see you all another time. Bye bye.